Hi, yeah. Now my name's Bill Fellows, and I'm primarily known as an actor, and I've been acting for quite some time. And most recently, Coronation Street, Ted Lasso, Paul Partridge, and a few. But I was born and bred in Middlesbrough, and as I'm going to say, I'm going to show you my cup because I'm still a Middlesbrough football fan, kept loyal. And it's a very industrial town, Middlesbrough, a very tough industrial town, known for two great singers, in my opinion, Paul Rodgers and Chris Rea, especially Paul Rodgers, because it was quite exciting for us as young lads that one of our friends, he said Paul Rodgers used to babysit for him. So we were excited by that, because All Right Now is still one of my favourite songs of all time. It's a great song. And then left. I went to an oddly named school, a secondary modern school called Hustler, which the Americans know it as either a film or a card shop or snooker shop or whatever. So it's quite weird that I went to a school called. It was named after a guy called Sir John Hustler, just in case. We didn't really learn about knife fighting and cards and all that. But eventually through that, I met a wonderful man called Bert Woolley. He used to run Middlesbrough Theatre mornings at Middlesbrough Theatre, obviously, and then Grangetown Boys Club. So that's where I got interested in acting. But I also had another job. I had no intention of being an actor. I did numerous jobs, but in the end, I was an apprentice turner, fitter and turner. After doing an appreciation course at ICI, I went to this place called Cowies, I think it was called. Anyway, I was rubbish at all these jobs. Didn't like it. Realised it wasn't my future, my life. But I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. Then luckily, and I've told this story before, I went to a party and a guy called David Evans, a friend of mine, we used to do Middlesbrough Theatre and Grangetown Boys Club, had just been accepted to be on the teacher's training course at Guildford. I knew nothing about drama schools, genuinely. You've got to remember, we're talking 1976 here now, but not a lot of people are actors from working class backgrounds, but not then. And he suggested, thank goodness, that I applied for drama school. And very long story short, I did apply, and remarkably, and it's still remarkable to this day, that they that they accepted me. Maybe it was because they knew I was going to get a grant, because a working class lad from Middlesbrough, people, obviously behind you becoming an actor, it was unusual in them days. So I got accepted for Guildford, and I had 3 fantastic years there at Guildford Drama School, which I loved, actually. I mean, there was ups and downs, but I really loved it. And of course, and then that was it. You had 3 years of being around people, but the big thing came, the big fear came, is when you left drama school, and that was the hard point. And that's when your next journey begins, because you need equity cards, you need agents, and you look back on your 3 years in drama school and you realise what a wonderful time that was, because there was kind of no pressure to make a living, but all of a sudden you're out the big bad world, and there you are making a living. And luckily, I hit the ground running with a few TVs and the plays, and I never quite looked back after that. I think in life generally, if you get a good start, I was always just kept my head above water all the time. And obviously, continued working for 40 years, as I am now. Still doing it. I mean, I've always been interested in music, and I was brought up in a Middlesbrough terraced house. So it's people like David Bowie coming on your screens and worlds like that. That was amazing. I've always loved music. And my first big experience, and my only experience actually, is there's a musical called Blood Brothers. And I played the lead in that, Mickey, in the West End in 1991. And that was remarkable. The combination of music and acting together was wonderful. I mean, my character, Mickey, he sings 2 songs. One when he's a 7-year-old boy, about being lonely on a Sunday afternoon, and then a patter song. So there weren't really difficult songs to sing. The majority of the difficult songs went to the mother, which is played by, at the time, Steffi Lawrence, and the narrator, which is a massive singing part, and that was played by the wonderful Carl Wayne, sadly passed away. And he would often tell me, and I was always really interested, he was the first voice on Radio 1 because he was the lead singer with The Move. And I believe my memory is correct, that it was Flowers in the Rain, and he was the first singer. And he was great in the show as well. He was a great singer. And I was in that show for about a year, which was quite hard work, because Mickey especially is a difficult part. Because while everyone else is relaxing, my character is getting built up, and he eventually shoots his brother. But I always remember how powerful music is, because whenever I was not feeling great or whatever, or a bit tired, the music was backing me up always. Do you know what I mean? So the combination of getting emotions from the audience was great writing, but great music. And if you put great music behind anything, you feel your emotions welling up. So for me, it was about probably my favourite time of being in the theatre doing a show was Blood Brothers, because it's a beautiful story, and the music it's almost like Willy Russell wrote the play and the music, and it's almost folky type of music. It's not necessarily pop music, but it really suited the show a lot. So that was exciting to be in that for 9 months. Blood Brothers. Never done anything since in the music really, because I think these days with music, you especially have to be a remarkable singer, because the standard of things like Les Mis and Jesus Christ Superstar, and I wish I was as good as that. I haven't got that kind of voice. And Sweeney Todd and all these wonderful musicals. The standard of people singing these musicals are incredibly high. And like I said, going back to Blood Brothers, you didn't need to be a great singer. You need to be a decent singer, a good singer, and a good actor. That was the combination. But with Les Mis and all these things, you need to be remarkable. But I would love to, if I had the quality of voice, I'd love to have played Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar. I think that's a remarkable piece of work. And the other one, Sweeney Todd. But again, they're singing. Maybe with a lot of work, maybe I could get there, but you'd have to do a lot of training to reach that. So I've settled for my voice. I write music at the moment. So I've settled on my kind of like Tom Waits, Springsteen, whatever it is kind of voice I've got, which is a bit rough around the edges. So like I was saying before, I've always loved music, you know, and obviously Bowie, Lou Reed, Roxy Music, early days of that. But, you know, I also loved Tom Waits and numerous other, Springsteen and numerous other people. Obviously, I'm still a big fan of Oasis and all that kind of stuff. But music was always a way of taking you out. I mean, I think Morrissey actually said a real great expression, which I really loved, which is why he's a great poet, is that we're the same age. So he said he watched Bowie on television, and watching him in colour took him out of his grey, coal-fired existence. And I thought he put that really well, because when you look back on your childhood, it feels like black and white. But then Bowie came on, because I lived in a terrace house, like Coronation Street. So that was, and I've always been interested in music. And so recently I've took it a bit more seriously. I've been an actor for a long time, and most recently I've been doing some really good stuff. I was in Coronation Street for 3 years playing Stu Carpenter, which is a great role. The massive hit, that's Ted Lasso, which I played the George Cartwright, the manager. Then and film, I've done a couple of films with, you know, people like Florence Pugh, a star now, and Jessica Chastain. So that's all been going really well. But in my head, for ages, I've been thinking I'm going to sort of semi-retire. And what I mean by that is that basically I'm just going to see what comes my way. So I'm not packing in acting, but I'm just going to not audition anymore. I'm not chasing it anymore. I'm 68, and it's something I thought, well, okay, well, I was going to plan this at 66. So I thought, no, well, I'll hang in there, because as much as I love acting, the business, and I'm sure the music business is just the same, it's quite hard dealing with that. And I think after a while, you feel like going, look, this is who I am. If you want me to do something for you, and I like the script, I'd love to do it. But when you say to me, well, can you prove you can do it? I've had enough of that. That's not arrogance. It's just saying I'm kind of tired of that world a little bit. But I still love acting, and I will continue. And I'm about to do a film. I've just done a few films recently. It makes it a lot harder. My agent has pointed this out. He's quite right. There's consequences to this. But I'm, as I tell my son all the time, if you're willing to take the consequences, you can virtually do anything. And I don't mean anything horrible, but, you know, I'm aware I'm going to get a lot less work, and that's fine. I can live with that, you know. But obviously then I need something a bit, I'm a creative person, and I needed something a bit more creative to get my teeth into, but which belonged to me almost, that I could do it on my own, pick up a guitar, do whatever I want, that I didn't need permission from anyone. I know the music industry later down the line, you get involved with other people, but the idea that you can just write your own thing. So I've been doing that for ages. And then recently, I just, through connections of mine and encouragement from people I know very well, because I know Toyah Wilcox very well, because I did a film with Toyah, played man and wife in the film, we stayed friends, and she's heard some of my music, and Robert Fripp, her husband now, and they've been very, very encouraging, and Nigel from Dodgy. So they've been like pointing me in the right direction. And Chris Hawkins from Radio 6 as well has been giving me advice, because they like, it's raw, the material, but it's early days, but they like the material and they like my voice. Now, equally, there's also other people I've sent things to and they're not replied, they're not interested, and they don't like it. So not every, I've realised that's just the way it goes. You know, you put stuff out there and you hope for the best. And I think, I don't know who said it, but you write it for yourself and then you hope other people are going to enjoy it too. So I'm going to have a quick drink of coffee. I've got to bring you up to date now, where I'm still acting, doing stuff. But I decided for myself, you could call it a vanity project, a passion project, whatever you want. Without permission, I've decided I'm going to make an album. I'm going to make an album. Obviously, a lot easier these days than it was in the old days. You know, you can digitally do stuff and do what you want and everything. So it's what you've caught me on is quite frankly the beginning of a new journey for me, a brand new journey, and surprisingly, it's making me. It's actually quite stressful. I've been trying to get away from the world of acting, which is stressful. I've put myself into another one. You know, and you're being judged, etc., etc. But it's something I felt I had to do for myself. And a good friend of mine, Trevor, who's been helping produce some of my music, said to me a wonderful thing the other day, and it sums up the music business. He said, "Yeah, well, when we do this, maybe if you can afford it, put it on vinyl as well, getting on vinyl, because when you give it to your friends, they're less likely to throw it away." And I went, absolutely, because you get given a CD or whatever, or digital stuff, it's gone in a second. With vinyl, there's something precious about vinyl. And it made me laugh, because he's obviously going, you're not going to sell anything, you're not going to get anywhere, but at least your friends will keep your vinyl MP. And you know something? I wasn't even insulted by that. I thought, that's good enough for me. That is good enough for me to put something I've enjoyed doing and believe in, and then put it on vinyl and give it away if necessary. I mean, I have dreams like everyone else. I'm not, you know, I'd love for something to happen. And like I said, I'm going to go with All About Promo. They're going to help me publish it. And there will be a connection maybe in the story of the music that someone at 68 is starting to do this. And, you know, from Coronation Street, a bit of interest, and why have I decided to do it now? And I know there's going to be a few connections, but the main thing is, I think I've had a lovely response from a few people, let's not say hundreds, who are encouraging my music. And music is so subjective. I'm not even insulted if people don't like it or it's not their cup of tea. It's so subjective. But I feel like, how can I put this? I feel that something inside me that has to get out. I can't, and it's been like that for a long, long time. So I'm finally going to do it. And I have to say, it's going to be nervous, because a bit like acting, you get judged and people are going to laugh at you and go, what the hell's going on? And I know other actors have tried making music, and some of them have done all right, and a lot of them get laughed at. But the world is changing a bit now. Do you know what I mean? Where we can incorporate everyone. It's the same in the acting world. You know, when you get musicians who think they can act. So I'm aware of all these things, and I've still decided I'm just going to write my music, and I don't even know what style I've got. I'm not a great guitar player, and so they're quite limited, my songs. But I've learnt listening to great people. I mean, one of my favourite songs, just because of the simplicity, is Knocking on Heaven's Door. I mean, it's 3 chords, 4 chords, but what a beautiful, great song that is. And that gave me encouragement. Okay, I'm not a great guitar player, absolutely not at all. I know about 15, 20 chords. I can't even do bar chords. So I'm very restricted in what I write. But as friends have saying, that's not a bad thing, to know your boundaries. I can't do fancy stuff or whatever. I'm just trying to create melodies. And so far I've got 4 songs recorded, and eventually we'll release that as an EP. And I've got another 5 songs. 2 of them need lyrics, and I tell you what, Oh, writing lyrics, man, that's the hard part, man, really hard, writing lyrics. And I've got 9 songs, so I've got my 9 songs, and I'm just going to record them. And then we're going to take it from there. And what happens? Nothing. Fair enough. I expect nothing really, but I just need to do them. If that makes sense at all, just that there's a need to do them. And I once, and I've asked this question quite a lot, and I'm interested in it. If you write a song, or you do a painting, or you do any creative art form, you're doing it for yourself. Is it all right just to do it? Is it complete if you just write it for yourself and you never play it to anyone? On the same with the painting. And I asked this question and everyone was, and then finally, Toy's husband, Robert Fripp, a lovely man, I asked him outright, and he's got opinions. If anyone knows Robert Fripp, he knows his stuff. I tell you, I love him. I think he's great. And he just said, no, you have to show people it. It's not complete unless someone can hear it or someone sees your painting. And he said, and then he said, the way it works is, first of all, you got hopefully your friends and family like it. And then if that's the next stage, hopefully then maybe local radio like it. Then you move on and move on and move on. And that's the way it works. But when he said, no, you've got, and I thought, yeah, he's right. You've got to take the risk and let people hear it. And then the creative art form's complete. That it's out there, if you know what I mean. Because I did think, well, why can't I just do a song and no one else hears it? Why can't I just do that? I've tried that. It doesn't work. You need people to hear it. I don't know why we human beings are like this, but you need people to hear it. And you put yourself, and the same with acting, you're vulnerable all the time. I think you're more vulnerable in music than you are in acting. Because when I'm an actor, I didn't write the words. I'm not filming it. There's an editor doing stuff. And so if people like what you do and love your performance, that's great. But they will say, well, I thought you were great. I didn't like the play. I didn't like this. But, so you with a group, with a music or with a band, or if you're writing songs, there is no excuse. If people don't like it, that's it. You can't, most people might say, well, I like your voice, but I'm not too keen on the song. But for me, it feels much more vulnerable music than any other art form. Though I have to say, ever since I was a kid, and I think the great art form of our history of human beings is music, in my opinion. It touches, with or without words, touches everything. And drama and theatre can do that as well. But honestly, music, and that's why going back to full circle, the Blood Brothers, you had both things. You had the acting art form and the writing, and then the great music with it. And that perfect combination, I absolutely love it. I like musicals. A lot of people don't like them, and I get that and can't quite handle them. But I do like music. I think it's musicals. Some of them are very inspiring and are really moving. So this is where I'm at now. And right at the beginning of a journey, you might never hear from me again, or you might, who knows. But I'm going to do it because I feel I want to, and I feel I need to, if that makes sense.